So if you're the type of person who gets triggered and gets highly reacted, these are a few things that you can do. First and foremost, relax. Like, let go. There is so much that we cannot control. And 9 times out of 10, when we're reactive to any sort of situation or any trigger, it is probably a situation that is outside of our control. And we are even triggered even more when we feel as though we could have avoided it in some sort of way. If maybe if I wasn't here at that time with this person, I could have dodged a bullet here, dodged a bullet there. Instead of thinking about the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, face the trigger and move forward. Figure out a way to let go or accept what has taken place. So you're reactive. Doesn't mean you have to continue being reactive. Next step is your awareness. How are you practicing awareness? How are you practicing being here and now so that if a trigger were to arise, you know where you're at in your body, in your mind, in your soul, so then you can navigate it with ease if that's something that you want to do. So mindfulness practices are really important. Meditation is really important. Knowing how you feel physically, emotionally, keeping tabs on all of that before you go out in the world and interact with it, those are all very important things. So how are you checking in with yourselves? All right. And if you are really highly reactive, then there is some unbalanced nature inside of you. There's something inside of you is unbalanced. If you're highly reactive, something inside of you is unbalanced. So how are you creating that peace? How are you creating that ease? How are you breathing? Are you breathing? Are you drinking water? Are you eating? Are you working out? Are you moving? Are you taking care of yourself? Making sure that those aspects of our lives are taken care of before you start rubbing your face into the ground because you were highly reactive, or before you start flicking people off and bursting on other people and blowing up all over people, before you start doing any of that, really make sure you've taken care of yourself. Really make sure you're good. Clock yourself. Okay, cool. So I'm highly reactive right now. I'm feeling highly triggered. Am I well? Am I well mentally? Am I well emotionally? Am I well spiritually? Have I been taking care of myself? Those are the things that you actually do have control over. Those are the things you actually do have a say in. Whatever triggered you, you got to let that go. You got to let that go. And if you're struggling to let it go, throw yourself into self-care. Throw yourself into, cool, I'm going to say some affirmations right now. I'm going to play some music. I'm going to call a friend I love and support and trust. I'm going to lean on somebody's shoulder who has the space for me to lean on. I'm going to do right. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to nurture, 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 instead of, wow, I should have figured it out. Why is this triggering me? Why is this triggering me? Who cares? Who cares the why? Who cares why? It's here. It's already happening. It's already present. Instead of getting hung up on why it's triggered you, really, really get hung up on what can I do right now? How can I navigate this right now? Cool. Let me drink some water. Let me go out for a walk. Let me just create some space. So then I can sit down, and then maybe in the creation of that space, you start daydreaming. Okay, cool. What were the signs? What were the red flags? What were the clues? Could I have avoided this in any sort of way? Was it something completely out of my control? What is this revealing about myself? What is this trigger showing me about me? Where is the wound? How can I breathe into that wound a bit more? How can I love myself through this a bit more? The darkness doesn't go away. These wounds don't go away. The trigger will never go away. It's always going to be there. So you got to find ways to accept. You got to find ways to accept. You got to find ways to process. You got to find ways to just, at least you may accept it, but it still bothers you. You may find some acceptance, like I accept this trigger, but like, it still bothers me. I still don't like it. And in that, it's like, okay, cool. At least you haven't given all of your power away to that trigger anymore. But through time, through practice, through awareness, you will eventually get there. And perhaps that trigger is always going to be present, but it's not going to be as loud anymore because the voice of awareness, the voice of nurture and acceptance, that will be louder. But give yourself some credit. Give yourself a break. Take your time. Don't beat yourself up because you got triggered. Don't beat the other person up because they triggered you. You got to deal with it. You got to face yourself. And you can face yourself in a loving and compassionate way, or you can be your worst enemy. Triggers are not your enemy. It's the way you're processing it that is making it the enemy. Process compassionately, lovingly, empathetically. Breathe, 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 breathe. Always come back to your breath. All right? Cool. Much love.